My hands trembled as I unfolded the worn envelope. Clara Whitman, 28, youngest in a Cape Cod family where appearances mattered more than truth. I'd always been the shadow, the one who disappeared in family photos, the one my siblings treated like air. My mother's papers lay scattered on the oak desk, brittle with age, and between bills and legal forms, a set of old keys slid out, attached to a yellowed card with an address I didn't recognize. Secrets have a way of finding you, even years after death. The envelope smelled faintly of lavender and old cedar. I stared at the address, a beach house secluded along the jagged cliffs outside Marblehead. My heart picked up. My mother never mentioned this house. Neither did my father or anyone else. People hide what they love or fear most, I whispered to myself. I slipped the keys into my pocket. The storm outside picked up, wind rattling the windows, rain slicing across the panes. I didn't even hear the knock until it was almost too late. 2 sharp raps at the front door. My breath caught. I froze. Who could possibly know I'm here? Clara. The voice was familiar, low, smooth. My older brother, Nolan, standing on the porch, soaked. He had a glare that cut sharper than the rain. Mom left this for me, I said, holding the envelope defensively. It's mine. Nolan's lip curled. Funny, I thought Mom left everything for me. His eyes flicked to the keys in my hand. You shouldn't even be touching that house. I have a right, I snapped. She trusted me, too. The wind gusted through the trees, rattling the shutters. Lightning cracked overhead. Nolan took a step back, as if the storm itself warned him. Be careful, he muttered. You don't know what's waiting there. I shook my head, heart hammering. Nolan had always been protective, but there was something in his tone, an edge, a warning that felt heavier than words. Danger hides where you least expect it. I didn't sleep that night. Rain drummed on the roof like a warning drum. I kept the envelope close, feeling the keys weight as if they were small anchors tethering me to a secret world. Every creak of the floor, every shadow passing the window made me flinch. I whispered to myself, everything changes when you cross the threshold of what's been hidden. Morning came gray, the sky bruised with storm clouds. I packed a small bag, flashlight, phone, charger, notebook, and the envelope with the keys. I double-checked locks, then slid out the back door into the chill. The neighborhood was quiet, almost too quiet. Each step toward my car felt like stepping further into an unseen trap. The drive was long. Fog rolled in from the ocean, curling around the cliffs like ghostly fingers. My hands gripped the wheel. My mind raced. What could possibly be waiting in that house? A forgotten inheritance? Hidden debts? Or worse, a secret someone had killed to protect? The truth isn't what we inherit. It's what survives us. I pulled off the main road, tires crunching gravel. The narrow path to the beach house was overgrown. Weeds brushing against the car, trees looming like silent sentinels. My pulse spiked as I saw it, the whitewashed walls and cobalt shutters, perched precariously on the cliff's edge. The ocean beyond was dark, angry, relentless. I parked, keys in hand, heart thundering. I stepped out, the wind snapping at my coat, soaking my hair. Every instinct screamed to turn back, but I had come too far. The front gate creaked under my push, sending a shiver down my spine. I climbed the steps, hand tightening on the keys. The door was old, scarred from years of neglect. I found the right key, slid it into the lock. It fit perfectly. My breath caught. I turned the knob, and the door swung open. Something moved inside. The door creaked open, and darkness swallowed me. My flashlight flickered, barely illuminating the hall. Dust floated in the air like tiny specters. The house smelled of salt, mildew, and something older, something secretive. We are never as alone as we think, I muttered, gripping the keys tighter. The living room was empty. Furniture covered in white sheets, draped like ghosts. I advanced, restraining. A floorboard creaked behind me. I whipped around. Nothing. Just shadows stretching across the walls. My pulse accelerated. Fear isn't in what you see. It's in what could be there, I reminded myself. I climbed the stairs slowly, each step a drumbeat of tension. The second floor, hallway stretched ahead. Pictures lined the wall, beach scenes, family portraits, some unfamiliar faces. One in particular, a woman holding a child with dark eyes like my own, froze me in place. A quick glance at the frame revealed a date, 2009. My mother? Or someone else? The office door at the end of the hall stood, slightly ajar. I pushed it cautiously. Papers scattered across the desk. Nothing seemed extraordinary until a small, worn shoebox on the shelf caught my eye. My fingers trembled as I opened it. Inside, photographs, receipts, and notebook with neat, careful handwriting. Then, a folded envelope sealed with red wax. No markings, no return address. I tore it open. A single sheet of paper. Clara, trust no one. Not even those who say they care. The truth is in the attic. My breath hitched. The attic. I hadn't thought about it before. The stairs leading up were hidden behind a sliding bookshelf. My flashlight beam caught a faint outline. I pushed the shelf aside, revealing the narrow steps. Every decision has a cost. I remembered saying that to myself once, while staring at my reflection after my last argument with Nolan. Now, the words felt like a warning etched in stone. I climbed. The attic smelled of rotting wood and old fabric. Cobwebs stretched across the rafters. Moonlight spilled through a small window, revealing piles of forgotten furniture and crates. I rifled through the debris. Papers, books, letters. My eyes caught something shiny, a small lockbox. Heavy, metal, cold to the touch. As I bent down, a whisper of movement. Someone else was here. My head snapped toward the shadows. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. I held my breath, pressed myself against a crate. The steps paused. Silence. Then a whisper, low and almost playful. Looking for me? My flashlight flicked across the attic. A figure darted behind a stack of boxes. My heart slammed. I didn't know if it was Nolan, a stranger, or someone sent to guard secrets. Trust is a dangerous thing, I whispered as I clutched the lockbox. The figure emerged, a man, mid-30s, sharp eyes, a faint scar across his cheek. Who are you? I demanded, voice shaking. He smiled, unsettling. I could ask you the same thing. You don't belong here. I found the keys in my mother's papers. This is mine to explore. Your mother. His gaze sharpened. Your mother left a lot behind. Some of it dangerous. He stepped closer. I backed up instinctively, bumping into boxes. They toppled over with a crash. He froze, then laughed softly. Bold but foolish. You have no idea what you're digging into. The lockbox felt heavier than before, like it contained the weight of a lifetime. I opened it. Inside, a flash drive and a folded note in my mother's handwriting. My hand shook. Clara, if you are reading this, I am gone. The danger you seek is real. Protect what you find. Trust no one. Start with Nolan. He may not be the enemy you think. My breath caught. Nolan? My own brother? I swallowed. The man's eyes never left me. What's on that drive? He asked, voice low. I don't know yet, I admitted. He took a step closer. Give it to me. No, I bolted toward the stairs. He lunged, hand brushing mine. The lockbox clanged against the wood. I scrambled, adrenaline fueling every move. At the attic door, I twisted, slammed it shut. My chest heaved. Downstairs, the hallway seemed longer, shadows deeper. Every creak of the house echoed like a gunshot. My mind raced. Nolan's name burned in my head. My mother's warning. The beach house, her secret sanctuary, held more than memories. It held danger, betrayal, and maybe answers I wasn't ready to face. I reached the living room, slammed the front door, and heard the engine start outside. A car, unfamiliar. Tires on gravel. Watching me. Always watching. I clutched the flash drive like a lifeline. To survive, you must become the threat they fear the most, I whispered to myself, repeating the lesson my mother never gave me, the one I had to learn too late. And then, through the window, I saw it, a shadow slipping across the edge of the property, moving with purpose. Someone had followed me from the attic. I froze. My heart sank. They were already inside. The sky was bruised purple and orange as I drove down the coastal road. Salt air whipped through the open window. Every mile closer to the beach house made my stomach twist tighter. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the resolve to face it, I whispered, repeating a mantra I had clung to since the attic. The house loomed ahead, whitewashed, shuttered windows catching the last light, looking abandoned yet ominous. My hand hovered over the door handle, hesitating. Every instinct screamed to run, but I couldn't, not now. Not after my mother's note. I stepped inside. The air was thick with the scent of sea and decay. My flashlight caught scattered furniture, walls faded by sun and salt. Then the creak. From upstairs. Always someone watching, I muttered. The attic was nothing compared to this. Shadows shifted. My heartbeat hammered. I climbed the narrow staircase. Each step protested underfoot. The upstairs hallway was long, lined with unopened doors. A breeze from somewhere made the old floorboards groan. My flashlight flicked toward a half-open door, the study. Papers sprawled across the floor, like victims of time. I froze. A folder, marked confidential, lay open. My breath caught, scrawled inside in my mother's unmistakable hand. Clara, the truth is closer than you think. Trust no one, especially him. Him. I whispered. My eyes darted. Nolan, the name tasted bitter. I had to find answers. I rifled through the papers. Bank statements, deeds, photographs. The deeper I dug, the heavier the secrets pressed against me. There it was, a property transfer signed under suspicious circumstances, time-stamped the day before my mother died. Fraud, money, hidden accounts, and beneath it all a note, meet me at the lighthouse. Alone. The lighthouse, miles down the jagged coast. My heart slammed. The future is a shadow. Step carefully. Footsteps. Quick, deliberate. My flashlight danced across the hall. Nothing. Just walls and the echo of my own panic. Then a whisper from behind the study door. Clara! I spun. The hall was empty. Someone was inside the house, hiding, watching, waiting. I grabbed the papers, stuffing them into my backpack. My hands shook. Every instinct screamed that I wasn't alone. Danger doesn't announce itself. It waits for a moment of weakness. Then the front door banged. Heavy. A gust of wind or someone else. My stomach sank. The lighthouse note. My mother had led me here to uncover what? To save me? Or to test me? A drawer in the study caught my attention. Inside, a small envelope with a flash drive. My mother's scrawl. Everything you need to understand Nolan is here. Guard it. Live by it. I pocketed the drive. The sound of boots on the deck above made me freeze. Shadows stretched along the hallway. My pulse roared. I crouched behind a tall cabinet as the figure emerged. Tall, broad, movement calculated. I recognized him instantly. My mother's lawyer, Vincent Harrow, a man I had trusted. Clara. His voice was low, commanding. Did you really think you'd find nothing? Why are you here? I demanded, voice shaking. Who sent you? He stepped closer, hand brushing a stack of folders. You don't understand. You can't. The house, your inheritance, it's all tied to more than money. Secrets that could ruin everyone, including you. I backed up, heart hammering, tripping over the rug. The paper slipped. I don't care. I need the truth. He paused. A flicker of recognition, almost regret. Then, truth isn't free, Clara. Sometimes it kills. I bolted. Down the stairs. Across the creaking floorboards. He followed, steps soft but deliberate. Outside, the wind tore at me. I could hear the oceans roar. And then a car door slammed. A vehicle I hadn't seen before, parked at the edge of the driveway. Shadows moved inside, watching. I ducked behind the porch railing, breath ragged, eyes scanning. Footsteps on the gravel. Harrow? Or someone else? Fear is a tool. Let it sharpen you. I sprinted toward the dunes. Sand whipped my legs. The lighthouse loomed in the distance, its silhouette jagged against the dying sun. Someone called my name. I didn't stop. The ocean hissed against the shore. My mind raced. Flash drive. Papers. Nolan. Harrow. Someone else. Someone dangerous. The stakes were higher than I imagined. Some truths are chains disguised as keys. A shadow fell over the sand behind me. I turned, too late. Hands grabbed my shoulders, spinning me around. A mask. A voice unfamiliar. Cold. You shouldn't have come here. The lighthouse light swung into view, cutting the twilight with a sharp beam. And then I realized the person who had been following me wasn't alone. They had the house surrounded, and the night was just beginning. The lighthouse towered like a sentinel against the blood-red sunset. I parked the car on jagged gravel and tried to steady my shaking hands. Sand clung to my shoes. My breath came in ragged bursts. Every instinct told me this was a trap, but I had no choice. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's standing when the world expects you to fall. I approached the lighthouse, flashlight in hand. Windows were broken, paint peeling. The wind whistled through empty panes like a warning. I counted each step toward the rusted door. 1, 2, 3. My heartbeat in my ears. Inside, the smell of salt and rust mingled with damp decay. Stairs spiraled upward, metal rungs groaning under my weight. Shadows stretched like claws in the lantern light. I kept my hand on the backpack strap, fingers tightening over the flash drive. Secrets have a way of finding those who don't deserve them and punishing those who do. A voice cut through the echo, Clara. Calm. Controlled. Too calm. I spun. Nolan Harrow stood at the landing above, arms crossed. His eyes were ice. You brought it, he said. His words were sharp, deliberate. Yes. Now let him go, I said, my voice cracking. Harrow tilted his head, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. You think this is about him? It's about everything your mother tried to hide, and now it's all yours. My stomach turned. Everything. Not all truths are meant to be uncovered, I whispered, recalling my mother's note. Suddenly, the spiral staircase shook under heavy footsteps. 2 men appeared behind Harrow, masks concealing their faces, guns drawn. My pulse tripled. I darted sideways, knocking over a rusted crate. A bottle shattered. Glass skittered across the floor. Harrow didn't flinch. Nice try. I heard another set of footsteps, above, behind me. Someone else was climbing, faster. A woman's voice, familiar but unplaceable, hissed. Clara, don't trust him. My head whipped. The flash of her eyes. Recognition. Evelyn Kane, my mother's former aide, and someone who had always seemed protective. But why now? Trust is a luxury in shadows. Harrow's smirk widened. You brought allies too late. I backed toward a narrow passage leading to the lantern room. My foot caught, a sharp pain shooting through my ankle. The men moved closer, synchronized, precise. Fear is a tool. They want you broken before the truth surfaces. Evelyn appeared behind me, dragging a fire extinguisher. She smashed it against one of the guards. Chaos erupted. Gunfire. Sparks. I ducked, rolling down a step, hitting my elbow against rusted metal. Pain flared, but I kept moving. At the top, the lantern room doors. I pushed them open. Wind gusted like a living thing, throwing salt in my eyes. I stumbled, cursing. Harrow was there, blocking the only exit. "End of the line, Clara," he said. "Calm." Deadly. I fumbled with the flash drive, hoping for leverage. That's when I saw it, a panel in the floor, slightly ajar. A hidden ladder descending into darkness. Sometimes salvation is below where no one expects. I whispered to Evelyn, who nodded, understanding. Together, we slipped down the ladder. Metal clanged, echoing. Harrow's curse followed us, sharp and cold. The passage opened into a damp cellar, filled with crates stamped with foreign bank codes and unmarked envelopes. The evidence my mother had hidden. Proof of Nolan's empire of lies and embezzlement. I gasped, flashlight catching the edges of hidden files. My hands trembled as I grabbed envelopes, stacking them into my bag. A sound upstairs. Heavy boots pounding the metal staircase. Harrow's voice sharp. "You can't hide forever." I glanced at Evelyn. Her expression was grim. "We need another way out." I noticed a small trapdoor behind shelf. Perfect. Escape isn't about courage. It's about seeing the path no one else notices. We climbed through the opening, finding ourselves on the cliffs above crashing waves. Salt spray hit my face. Below, the tide raged. A rope ladder dangled, forgotten. Sometimes you jump, even if you can't see the landing. We descended. Each swing of the ladder was a gamble. Wind tore at my jacket. Waves roared like warnings. Behind us, Harrow's shouts echoed, distant but growing. Finally, feet hit sand. My ankle screamed, but I forced myself forward. Evelyn held the bag. "We have what we came for," she said. Relief, but it was fragile. The beach stretched endlessly, empty but for the shadows moving near the treeline. Men in black watching, waiting. Safety is temporary. Danger always waits. I whispered to myself, this isn't over. Not by a long shot. Then the dark shapes shifted. A vehicle. Headlights cutting through the gloom. Engines growled. They were coming for us. I grabbed Evelyn's arm. "Run." And as the tires crunched over the sand, headlights aiming straight for us, I realized Harrow hadn't just been guarding secrets, he'd been baiting us. And the night was about to consume everything. The car roared down the coastal road, tires slicing through the gravel. My ankle throbbed with every bump. Salt spray stung my eyes. Evelyn gripped the wheel like her life depended on it, which in truth it did. "Hold on," she snapped, voice tight. "They're right behind us." I clutched the backpack, feeling the weight of every secret my mother had hidden. Bank records, transfer documents, hidden accounts. Proof enough to bring down Harrow's empire. Truth doesn't wait for permission. You either grab it or lose it. Behind us, headlights flashed. 2 black SUVs. Silent engines, deadly precision. They weren't just following, they were hunting. "Split?" I asked, breathless. Evelyn shook her head. "No. Straight to the docks. There's a boat waiting. Fast. No questions." I glanced out the window. Fog rolled off the cliffs in thick waves. The world shrank to metal, headlights, and the roar of engines. Danger doesn't announce itself. It waits in the folds of night. A sudden bang on the rear bumper made the car swerve. I slammed my palm against the dash. "They're ramming us." Evelyn cursed, correcting the wheel. "Not today." We tore around the final bend, the docks appearing like a mirage. Crates stacked high, cranes silent, water black as oil. A small speedboat rocked against the pier. Nolan Harrow's men slowed at the edge, guns raised, their faces masks of calm brutality. I jumped out before the engine stopped. Sand burned under my hands as I hauled the backpack toward the boat. Evelyn followed, tossing me a flare. Red light spattered across the water. "Go," she yelled. I leapt in, water splashing, fingers locking onto the rope ladder. Evelyn pushed off. Engines roared. Behind us, Harrow's SUV screeched, but the boat picked up speed. I sank into the seat, gasping. We did it. Not yet, Evelyn muttered, scanning the horizon. Her eyes narrowed. A faint silhouette emerged on the cliffs. A man standing, arms outstretched, motionless. Harrow, watching, calculating. The closer you get to freedom, the sharper the claws of pursuit. The water swallowed the reflection of the moon. I opened the backpack, scanning documents. Digital files, paper, everything intact. But my stomach dropped. One folder was missing. My mother's final letter, the one with instructions to stop Harrow's network completely. Did you check the lantern room? Evelyn asked quietly. Her voice carried both fear and warning. I shook my head. Panic prickled at my spine. It was gone. Someone took it before we left. Suddenly, a flare of light in the distance. Another boat. Fast. Coming at us. Men armed, moving with silent precision. I pressed my head against the hull. They can't know we have it all, I whispered, though the truth was clear. We weren't safe until every document was secure. Power isn't in what you hold. It's in what they think you hold. Evelyn's hands were steady on the wheel, but I could see the tension rippling under her skin. We're heading to Harper's Cove. Safe house. Federal contact waiting. No mistakes. I swallowed. You trust them. She gave a thin smile. Trust is a luxury we don't have. Compliance is survival. The boat skimmed over the water, spray whipping into my face. Waves slammed against the hull. My phone vibrated a single message. They know. They're watching everything. I froze. Not just Harrow. Someone else. Someone close. Every ally can be a traitor. Every shadow a sentinel. Then, a muffled sound from the cabin. I froze. Evelyn turned, eyes wide. The sound grew, a rustle, a whisper. Who's there? I demanded, voice steady though my hands shook. A figure emerged. My breath caught. The missing folder, my mother's final instructions, sat in his hand. Michael Caine, my mother's trusted accountant, or so I thought. He smiled, slow and cold. Looking for this? I wanted to run. But no, not now. Every move mattered. Every second counted. I clenched the flash drive. You don't know what's at stake. Hand it over. Michael's grin widened. Oh, I know exactly what's at stake. And it's bigger than you imagine. Bigger than her. Suddenly, the boat rocked violently. A collision? No, something worse. An explosion from the pier. Flames licked the sky. Harrow's men were attacking, trying to cut off our escape. Evelyn swore. Hold on. Brace yourself. We plunged into chaos. Fire reflected on water. Gunfire echoed. Michael's laugh piercing the roar of engines and waves. I realized with icy clarity, every step we'd taken, every document we'd secured, had led us straight into the storm. And in that storm, the real enemy had revealed himself. I gritted my teeth, gripping the flash drive tighter. You either control the storm, or it controls you. As the speedboat lurched toward Harper's Cove, I knew one truth. Not everyone would make it out alive. And someone I trusted completely had just turned the tide against us. The harbor was quiet now. Smoke still curled from the pier, painting the dawn with streaks of orange and ash. My hands shook, gripping the flash drive like it was the last tether to sanity. Evelyn's eyes scanned the horizon, every muscle coiled, ready to spring. Fear sharpens instinct more than courage ever could. The police boat cut through the mist, engines low, authoritative. Officers moved like shadows, precision drilled into their every step. They took Nolan Harrow, restrained him, and finally Michael Caine, still smirking until a pair of cuffs silenced him. I exhaled, relief laced with exhaustion. It's over, I whispered, though every fiber of my body screamed that the story wasn't over until every secret saw the light. Over isn't a word for this, Evelyn muttered, loading the documents into secure evidence bags. Her hands were steady, but her eyes told a different story, she'd seen too much. They were organized, clever. You realize how close we were to losing everything. I nodded. Every thought circled back to my mother, her cryptic letters, her hidden truths. Sometimes the past is a weapon. Sometimes it's a shield. And today her foresight saved us. The flash drive clicked in my hand, heavy with the weight of lives, betrayals, and lies. We delivered the files to the federal agent waiting at Harper's Cove. His eyes scanned the evidence, unblinking, assessing the mountain of proof. "This is comprehensive," he said finally. "Every account, every transfer, every hidden directive. They won't recover from this. Not without serious consequences." I allowed myself a small nod, but the adrenaline hadn't faded. I remembered something my mother once said. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting when every instinct screams stop. Evelyn placed a hand on my shoulder. "You did more than act, Maya. You led, and you survived." I glanced at the horizon, waves breaking softly against the shore. The sun lifted higher, chasing the shadows of the night away. And yet, the chaos of the past 24 hours replayed in my mind. The men on the cliffs, the explosions, the betrayal. Trust is a fragile thing. Sometimes broken, it can never be restored. Then, a soft voice, Danilo. He emerged from the shadows of the safe house, cautious, still small but determined. "Are we really safe now?" I knelt, letting my gaze meet his. "Safe enough to breathe, but never forget. Strength comes from the choices you make when fear is crushing you." He frowned, but I saw understanding. "I want to help." "You already have," I said, placing the flash drive in a locked safe, hidden behind layers of security. "You've reminded me why fighting is worth it, even when the cost is everything." The agent approached one last time. "We'll secure the evidence. Harrow's facing federal charges. Kane too. And the others, the network collapses today. Justice doesn't always arrive on time, but it arrives." I let the words settle. Justice, not vengeance. Not reckoning. Justice. Evelyn exhaled, finally loosening her grip. "You're human, Maya. Don't forget it. You carried more than anyone should have." I nodded, letting the quiet wash over me. For the first time in years, I didn't feel the constant pulse of danger. The house, perched on the cliffs, waited like a sentinel. The ocean stretched endlessly, serene, almost unreal after the chaos. I thought of my mother again. Her warnings, her careful planning, her love buried in cryptic notes. Sometimes, the ones who leave the most mysteries behind are the ones protecting you the hardest. Danilo tugged at my sleeve. "Can we go home now?" I looked at the house, at the still smoldering pier far below, at the brightening sky. "Yes," I said, letting myself smile. "Home. And this time, we choose who stays in our world. We choose who matters." He ran ahead toward the house, laughter echoing off the cliffs. The sound was like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. I followed, slower, savoring each step, the weight of the past finally lifting, the promise of safety grounding me. Inside, the house smelled of salt and cedar, familiar yet reclaimed. The walls held the shadows of memories, but I touched them with new purpose. Every document archived, every threat neutralized, every life accounted for. Evelyn handed me a cup of coffee. "You did it," she said softly. "You saved more than just evidence. You saved the boy, yourself, and maybe even us." I nodded, letting the warmth seep through my frozen limbs. The world will always try to take what's ours, but today we held the line, and we'll hold it again if we must. I paused at the window, looking out over the calm sea. The horizon glowed with the first true light of morning. Life doesn't reward the timid. It rewards the ones who dare to face the storm and still stand when the sun rises. Danilo appeared beside me, small hand in mine. "We're really okay." I pressed him close. "Yes. And now we build. We live. We love. We survive. For the first time, I allowed myself to feel the relief, the quiet triumph. The ocean whispered promises of tomorrow. And though the past had nearly destroyed us, it had also taught us this. Strength isn't just surviving the storm. It's knowing how to rise after it. I looked down at the flash drive, safely locked away, and whispered, "Mom, we did it. We honored you. We're finally free." Outside, the waves continued their endless rhythm. And I understood fully that freedom was not just about escaping danger. It was about choosing what you protect, whom you love, and how you rise after every fall. Finally, the house felt like home, and we were ready for whatever came next.